From London, England, where the Queen lives.
Recorded live from an underground bunker and packaged into an MP3 with a pretty little picture. Helping to kickstart your day with the motivation and inspiration you need 365 days a year. This is the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. And this is your host, Chris Jaggs.
Good morning and welcome to episode 118 of the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. And I'm still your host, Chris Jaggs, back once again in the hot seat for another chapter of the LDL adventure. It is, of course, Monday. Woohoo! Now, come on, look at that. Now, episode 118. Where is the time going? Now, before we even get going, I could ask if you could give the show a review and a rating, because your views and what you think of the show help shape how each episode goes, the subjects we talk about, and hopefully the end results that you get at the end. And after all, I'd like to make it as best for you as I can. Now, for this episode, we're going to go into the world of trying to be perfect and why it could actually be, and probably is, ruining your life trying to be just that. It's just not good for you. Some people spend years trying to be perfect when, realistically, they might end up as a raving lunatic perfectionist. You spend your days trying to battle through life thinking that some people are actually better at life than you. But it's not that way. Now, before we get right into this, let's have those messages, and here we go.
The Learn, Develop, Live podcast, helping you find your way in life.
If you're enjoying the podcast, why not share it with someone? You could be the reason someone becomes motivated today.
Welcome back, one and all. So let's get into this. Quick quiz for you. If you started the whole journey of trying to be perfect, did you or are you experiencing any of these? You continually procrastinated and somewhere procrastinated procrastination. What a mouthful. You felt stressed when there was nothing to be stressed about. You didn't give yourself any sort of break if things went wrong, just beating yourself up for no reason. And, well, hardly describe yourself as actually having a good day if anyone was to ask. Now, those are some of the common signs that people go through once they realise that they may have been trying to be perfect. Maybe you didn't even know. Another player in this game is also called anxiety. Now, if you set yourself some higher than high standards, some really stupidly ambitious ones that you can't meet or even see, you're going to cause yourself some problems. Perfection is holding yourself to a standard in which anything less than perfect is somehow a failure. The need for perfection isn't a hard thing to understand for anyone, and we all want things to be perfect in our own way. But a perfectionist will take that idea much, much further. The idea of a perfectionist, they are responsible for giving 100% of themselves 100% of the time. Anything less is not acceptable. They have a driving need for a plan, working to a high standard with achievement at the end, and the danger here, well, this drive can burn them out and push them into some very, very dark places, with a negative effect on their own self-image. Despite what people might think, being a perfectionist is not necessarily an enjoyable state of being. It comes with a lot of personal expectations and a compulsive need to take charge or exert power. While the perfectionist may be equipped to perform well in the corporate world, on the field of play, wherever you spend most of your time, the problem they face is they struggle to form close interpersonal relationships or maintain a steady sense of emotional and mental well-being. If you think you're a perfectionist yourself, do you feel your need for perfection is ruining your life? While the art of perfectionism is a two-way street, it can bring both success and achievement, but it can cause a lot of damage and even take victims a long way. Yes, it does push us to get things right and, of course, succeed. But a continuous need to keep pushing can start to play on you and maybe begin to eat away at you without you even noticing. Maybe this could even affect your own self-esteem as well. There are dangers. Now, like most things, there are several types of perfectionism: self-orientated, other-orientated, and socially prescribed. When you're self-orientated, you have the ultimate need to be the best. The other-orientated perfection happens when you place unrealistic expectations onto others. The socially prescribed is when you only feel the crushing need to be perfect because of those around you. Maybe it's the pressure of what you think or what others think of you. Wherever your perfectionism lies, it's important to try and spot the signs of its toxic effects before they destroy your happiness. And no one wants that, do they? Like all good things out there, there are ways to manage perfectionism before it destroys your life. Okay, maybe that's a bit extreme to say that, but for some people, this is what it can actually feel like. You don't need to cling to this need for perfection forever. No one in this world is perfect. It's totally impossible. And there's no one standard to measure perfectionism by anyone because everyone is so different. You need to learn how to let this compulsion go and embrace the fact that you're good enough, precisely as you are right here and right now. First of all, we need to work from the inside out first. So let's ask, who is your biggest critic? Hands up if anyone knows the answer. Anyone? Well, yes, you're all right. It is actually yourself. Give yourself 10 points if you got that right. Kicking your inner critic out is the best start to this. The one chasing and the one behind our drive for perfection is our inner critic. An inner critic unchecked will have you believing the worst of yourself for the whole of your life. It will tell you aren't good enough and will completely deny all the good work and effort you've put into the world so far. We have to let our inner critics go if we want to let go of our need to prove ourselves through endless perfection. Open the door and give the critic its marching orders. Thank you and good night. Your next mission is to find your way back into reality. Yes, the real world. Now there is no dwelling to be done here. Out here, in the real world, there's no such thing as perfect or imperfect, good or bad. Things just are, and that's the way it is really. Some experiences are preferable and others aren't. All of them, of course, are learning experiences though, and a chance to become a better version of yourself than we were before. The failures, although, well, we don't want them, but they are actually the biggest lessons for ourselves that we could ever have. The trick here is to move slowly. You might have spent so long trying to get things right that you've completely forgotten the feeling of messing something up. Allow yourself to get a couple of things wrong each day and just walk away from them. Don't fix it. This can allow you to come back to that world of reality. After all, we are all human and we make mistakes. It's just that simple. You might want to also learn how to use the word no. Now, not to be outdone by the world, the perfectionist is someone who takes on the weight of the world on their shoulders without any real consideration for their physical or mental well-being. They push themselves and push themselves, driving until they're burnt out and almost in a state of emotional collapse and possibly even a breakdown. Now, in order to break out this pattern of the do and do more, we have to say no, and we have to do it more often. So, why not start today? Say no to something that you don't actually really want to do. Now, here's a good question that's part of your journey back to the world of reality. When was the last time you actually looked after yourself? Have you ever thought of taking some time back for yourself? How about creating a kind of self-care routine for you? Yes, so self-care is a term we hear bandied around a lot these days, but we hear it more with the bigger focus we have on mental health now. Self-care used to be all about taking a spa break, but that's the old stuff, and that's not really what self-care is about though. True, self-care, while it certainly does involve looking after your body, it also includes your mind as well. Also, it requires that we nourish our inner environments as well. It means cooling the mind and the emotions, knowing how to find the peace and let go of the need to be perfect. In the world today, our society likes to celebrate a compulsive need for perfection. But perfectionism is a double-edged sword that can seriously undermine our happiness and our relationships. If you want to live a life that is both fulfilling and authentically aligned, you need to find a better way to disconnect from your need for perfection everywhere that you turn. Kick your inner critic to the curb and stop giving them power over your psyche and your emotions. Let go of the idea that perfection exists in any form and take a big leap back into reality. Look, no one's perfect, we've said it before, and no single person has the same definition of perfection. Rather than seeking to be the best, seek to just become better. Start saying no and setting some boundaries and realistic expectations for you, for yourself. No one has all the answers, nor should they. If you take care of yourself and know that there is no need to prove yourself to others, build up a regular self-care routine and just let go of any feelings that you need to carry the weight of the world. You just don't need it. Leave those shoulders alone. Look, you don't have to hold on to your need for perfection forever. You can let it go and find a better way to live in peace and harmony with you. This is all about you and always has been. You don't need to be perfect. Stop chasing it. Maybe the key word for this whole transition is, well, learning. People who spend years trying to be perfect think it's in their blood, despite how unhappy they become. Despite all this, learning new ways of breaking away from that mindset is key. Now, it won't happen overnight, and you may well slip back into the old ways every so often. But the point is to just try at least. And well, at the end of it all, life isn't perfect. No one is perfect despite what they tell themselves, but for those who stop trying, at least you can be happy once again. Now, before I wrap the episode up, come and find some more Learn, Develop, Live motivation and inspiration over on the social media channels. If you search for Learn, Develop, Live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, you can join and follow there too. Why not say hello while you're there? And another also, if you'd like me to teach you the Learn, Develop, Live method to help unlock your problem or issue that you have right now, come over to ldlcool.com. If you're low on confidence, if you want to be more assertive, if you want to finally launch your dream, book your slot on my calendar at ldlcool.com and start to level up today. And fear not, credit cards, debit cards, bank cards are not needed. This is literally just a great conversation, brainstorm the best strategy to help you grow and eliminate the problem or the issue that you have right now. Let's speak soon. And as for the podcast, well, take care of yourself. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.
Recorded live in the UK, podcasting to the world. This is the Learn, Develop, Live podcast.
Goodbye.
What? It's over already?
All over.
Thank you for listening to the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. I hope you feel as warm, motivated, and fuzzy inside as I do. You can connect with Chris at LearnDevelopLive.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
I won't say goodbye. I'll just say until we meet again.
Until next time, join the motivation. Motivation.